Right now, on to the point. Community concerns over the Sacramento Sheriff's Office collaborating with ICE.
There is nothing to do with civil removal.
We don't even know if there's any written assurances.
What's being said in a new federal contract. Congressional seats up for grabs in this year's election. Tonight we meet the top candidates running in U.S. House District 13. And in our Champions of Hope, from baby squirrels to hatchlings and skunks, we take you inside the life-saving work at Wildlife Care Association. A controversial contract approved earlier this month by the Sacramento County Board of Supervisors has some community members worried about the Sheriff's Office collaborating with ICE. As always, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Alex Bell. ABC 10's Becca Habegger shows us what the contract with the federal government says and also has reaction from both sides.
Since 2019, the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says it has been part of a regional task force of federal law enforcement agencies aimed at targeting transnational criminal organizations through the U.S. Department of Justice. On Inauguration Day of his second term, President Trump signed an executive order establishing a new initiative to go after transnational organized crime. This one is co-led by the FBI and ICE's Homeland Security Investigations Branch, or ICE-HSI. It's called the Homeland Security Task Force, or HSTF.
The HSTF's mission is to end the presence of criminal cartels, foreign gangs, and transnational criminal organizations throughout the United States. That's really what the crux of this is.
Lieutenant Rod Grassman is commander for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Homeland Security Bureau. At a Sacramento County Supervisors meeting earlier this month, he asked the board to approve a contract formally including the Sheriff's Office in the Sacramento-San Francisco Homeland Security Task Force. But local community members expressed concerns, citing stepped-up immigration enforcement nationwide by ICE and other federal officers, causing fear in immigrant communities.
The HSTF's mission includes ensuring the use of all available law enforcement tools to faithfully execute the immigration laws of the United States.
AJ Albano is a volunteer with Decarcerate Sacramento, which raised awareness about this matter on the supervisor's agenda. Christopher Camilo Carvajal is program and campaign coordinator with Decarcerate Sacramento.
We want to make sure that the Sheriff's Department is accountable to the community, is accountable to us.
There is nothing to do with civil removal or immigration status, any of that. We're looking at criminals.
He points out California law, SB 54, prohibits state and local law enforcement agencies from assisting federal immigration enforcement.
We will now call to order.
Two supervisors voted against the contract, both saying they wanted more time to get clarification on ICE's role in the task force.
I can't just take someone's word for it at the podium. The staff report did not make that clear. The contract did not make that clear.
For me, the yes vote was that this is pretty much procedural. It is an organization that has been in effect for a long time, and there are no changes to that, to the way that it's currently set up and operating. So I didn't have concerns.
The current contract runs through September 30th and must be renewed every year. In Sacramento, Becca Habegger, ABC 10.
We, of course, reached out to ICE and the FBI to ask about the task force and community concerns. The FBI got back to us saying that they are working on a response. Unfortunately, we did not hear back from ICE or the Department of Homeland Security, which oversees ICE. Tonight in Washington, plans to pass a major immigration enforcement package are now off track. Some senators say the proposed anti-weaponization fund by the Department of Justice blindsided them. Senators are now heading home for the holiday weekend recess, and that means President Trump's demand for an open immigration bill by June 1st likely will not happen. A push to make housing cheaper and easier to build in the Valley passed the U.S. House today. Congressman Josh Harder's bill would ensure more housing investments into low-income communities, expand financing options for affordable housing projects, and also cut through red tape that could slow down construction. The bill now heads to the Senate for final approval. California's card room regulations are on hold for now. Today, a judge temporarily blocked Attorney General Rob Bonta's new regulations. The court ruled the state likely exceeded its authority by creating rules that would effectively ban some popular card room table games. The judge also found the regulations could cause financial harm to card rooms and the communities that rely on them while the legal challenge moves forward. ABC 10 reached out to the Attorney General's office for comment on today's ruling, but we have not heard back quite yet. All right, stay with us. A lot more news to get to. We are continuing our conversations with local candidates hoping to win a seat in Congress. Tonight, we're heading out to the Central Valley's District 13. And then later in our Champion of Hope, you got to watch this one. The volunteers giving orphan wildlife a second chance.
And it was one of the warmest days of the year so far today. But look at the long weekend. We've got highs in the low to mid 80s, and I've got the full forecast after the break.
The Sacramento County Fair is happening right now at Cal Expo. Gates open this morning at 10 a.m. Fairgoers can enjoy, of course, all the carnival rides that you're seeing right there, live entertainment, a rodeo, and yes, my producer's favorite, the pig races. She loves those. This year's theme is Carnival Lights and Country Nights. The fair runs through Monday, May 25th. Brendan, you know, it's not actually too hot. I would consider going to the fair. Unfortunately, I've covered so much fair coverage in my previous market that I don't know that I want to go to a fair again after that.
You're still full on the corn dogs from,
yes,
you know, the ghosts of fairs past, I suppose.
Puddle cakes for days. I'm good. I'm good.
Well, look, if you do want to go out to the fair this weekend, it's going to be pretty nice. Nicer than what we had today. Today, as expected, warmest day of the year. Well, tied for the warmest day of the year so far. 94 in Sacramento, 96 Stockton, 95 in Modesto, 88 Jackson, 84 in Auburn, 70 in Truckee, and 72 in Tahoe. Right at the top of the board, along with May 11th, 94 degrees. We're getting up there. 94 in the middle of July is a pretty seasonal day, so we can expect some warmer days over the course of the next 2 to 3 months. But really, the temperature trend at this point is no longer going up. It's actually coming back down. 92 at the moment in Sacramento, 92 Stockton, 93 Modesto, 79 Placerville, 65 in Tahoe. We're getting a bit of a delta breeze going as well, about 10 to 15 miles per hour across the valley. Friday morning, cool, 56 in Sacramento, 55 in Stockton, 59 Modesto, 57 in Jackson, 37 in Truckee, and 38 in Tahoe. Friday afternoon, and look, still hot tomorrow. We're still in the 90s, 92 in the capital city, 95 Stockton, 96 in Modesto, 84 in Vacaville, 83 Fairfield, 98 up in Colusa, 94 in Marysville, and mid to upper 80s across the foothills. We had some showers up near Tahoe today, a few thunderstorms as well. Those are mostly at this point off into the state of Nevada, but we're going to get some more along the Sierra Crest tomorrow. So if you're getting an early start on the long weekend, you're going up to Tahoe, remember some thunderstorms are in the forecast. A nice delta breeze today, a nicer delta breeze tomorrow and through the weekend. But look at the weather pattern here. High pressure actually backs off to the west, and we got another high building off to our east. This will mean some seasonal temperatures for us as we go through that long weekend. And then we've got this system dropping in about Tuesday, Wednesday. Definitely means some cooler temperatures, some low 80s, likely some stronger delta breezes, but exactly where this low pressure drops in at will mean the difference between strong onshore winds and strong north winds down the valley. For now, I'm taking the strong onshore winds. Could still see a little bit of some northerly winds towards the middle part of next week. But for now, it's all about the downward trend in temperatures from the 90s today and tomorrow to the low 80s through the holiday weekend.
All right, Brendan, thank you. Right after the break, the June primary is less than 2 weeks away, and congressional seats are up for grabs once again. Coming up, we're introducing you to the candidates running in the newly redrawn District 13. The June primary is just 12 days away, and congressional seats are up for grabs again, including California's Congressional District 13. There are 4 candidates in the race whose names you will see on your ballot, and 3 of them have raised more than $100,000, according to FEC filings. To help you get to know them just a little bit better, here's ABC 10's Gabriel Porras.
Proposition 50 changed District 13 this election to include parts of Stockton. It follows what was the tightest House race in the country in 2024. Democrat Adam Gray won by just a few hundred votes, and this year there are new candidates in the race. Republican candidate Kevin Lincoln is a veteran. He was the former mayor of Stockton and in 2024 lost a bid to represent California's 9th district in Congress. Lincoln says his time in local government has shaped how he would lead in Washington, D.C.
The key issues I'll be focused on as elected is representing and being a voice, a strong voice for our valley farmers and ranchers. Also focusing on economic development opportunities through workforce development opportunities, making sure that our region is strong, making sure our region has the workforce to continue to move it forward.
Democratic candidate Adam Gray is the incumbent in the race, the current representative for the 13th district. He hopes to keep his seat and says his focus would be on bipartisanship.
People have to stop this constant fighting and start working to actually improve people's lives. And that's the example I've tried to set by finding opportunities for bipartisan legislation. And I think we need to be laser focused on making life more affordable.
Republican candidate Vin Crudiventi is a business owner. He lost a 2024 bid to represent the state's 14th congressional district. He says he is not a politician and hopes that appeals to voters.
Economy, number one. Water would be number two. And up and down the valley, people talk about homelessness. Like, it's real, right? People are hurting. People are worried about losing their health care. People are worried about, like, when's the next meal going to come from?
What makes you qualified to represent this district, especially since Prop 50 drastically changed lines across the state?
I'm not looking for my next job. I made my money somewhere. It is my time now to give it back to the country that gave me everything. I work across party lines. I'm getting nonpartisan support, like, across the board.
I grew up in this district. My family's been here running a business in agriculture for the last several generations. I've got local teachers in my family and folks who really understand this community. I understand this community. I went to public schools here. I grew up here. I went to high school here. I went to Merced College. So, I do understand this district. I live in this district. I think that's important. And I think people deserve a representative who is one of them in their own community.
I'm from this district. This is my home district. And my grandfather, he worked over 40 years at a local cannery in this district. I'm a third generation Valley resident of this district. And there'd be no greater honor to go back to Washington and serve this district as their next congressional representative.
Kevin Lincoln has picked up endorsements from President Donald Trump, Speaker Mike Johnson, and the California Republican Party. Vin Crudiventi is endorsed by CPAC and by San Joaquin, Merced, and Madera County Young Republicans. At least 10 Valley mayors have endorsed Adam Gray, and so has the California Farm Bureau. Your district is in the farming capital of the world. What would you do to help farmers and those who are doing that work?
Look, I think we've got to solve this immigration issue. And I voted for a lot of bills to increase security so that we have a secure border, and I think that's important. But we've not adequately addressed the fact that there's a lot of people coming here, working hard, trying to contribute to our local economy, to the ag economy, and we got to give them status.
There are 5 ag counties in our congressional district, and our farmers and our ranchers, they need more water storage, they need smart infrastructure, and they need less regulations as well.
Central Valley Project, which is under federal control, and State Water Project we have no control over. It took 30 years before the construction started, and it's not in the district. So one of my priorities would be to work across the party lines, build a coalition to make sure we have another project like that in the Valley. We got to make sure we have funds allocated for surface water storage, groundwater recharge, and dredging.
Across the Valley, affordability is a top concern, and each candidate has a different approach.
It's a multi-pronged approach, right? One of the things that we have to do to lower the overall cost is improve the economy of the district. Central Valley feeds half of the nation, but we've got the highest poverty rate at 20%, highest employment rate at 18%.
People are feeling pain at the pump. They're feeling the rising cost of groceries, the rising cost of utilities. And so we need to make sure that we're lowering the cost of living by cutting taxes, by eliminating burdensome regulations. These are things that help drive down inflation.
Things get expensive when you put too many burdens on building, producing, et cetera. And frankly, in the San Joaquin Valley, which is the most productive agricultural valley in the world, I think we understand that better than most.
According to FEC filings, Adam Gray has raised more than $3.2 million. Kevin Lincoln has raised more than $1.2 million, and Vin Crudiventi has raised more than $876,000. Others running in this race can be found over at abc10.com. And there is a lot to know about the candidates running in our local congressional races. Be sure to watch our election special on Congress this Saturday at 10 p.m. and it's streaming on the free ABC 10 app as well. Voters are already starting to turn in their ballots. According to the Secretary of State, more than 1.5 million vote-by-mail ballots are already returned for the June 2nd primary. If you're not sure where to actually drop your ballot, you can check the Secretary of State's website and use the official voter guide information. All right, stay with us. Next is a story that you're not going to want to miss if you want to put a smile on your face. In our Champions of Hope, we take you inside a wildlife rescue center giving orphaned animals a second chance at life. At Wildlife Care Association in Sacramento, volunteers are helping animals get a second chance at life. It's one of the state's busiest wildlife rescue centers, and staff say that the director is really the driving force behind the mission. In this week's Champion of Hope, we highlight her leadership and also the volunteers who work around the clock to rescue, rehabilitate, and release California's wildlife back home. Inside Wildlife Care Association, every day there are new patients arriving.
Our mission is to rescue, rehabilitate, and release wildlife.
On the day we visited, staff showed us stacks of boxes filled with injured and orphaned animals, dropped off just that morning alone.
We don't name them. These are wild animals and they belong to the state of California. And so we refer them to their patient numbers.
And leading that response is Sandra.
Ever since I was little, I've always had a variety of pets. I've always loved animals from a very young age.
That passion turned into years of hands-on experience through zoos, internships, and wildlife rescue work. Today, she oversees operations, medical care, and the constant flow of animals coming through the doors.
I still wash dishes to this day. I still clean animals' pens to this day.
Some days they get as many as 80 new patients. Many are baby animals brought in during the spring season, like squirrels falling from nests.
This guy's about 6 weeks.
Hatchling birds needing round-the-clock feeding.
These are hatchling California scrub jays. They get fed every 30 minutes.
And skunks separated from their mothers too soon. Sandra says its mission is simple, but the scale is anything but.
We receive the most patients, and so we do have the highest volume of animals coming in and out of this facility.
And as resources tighten, the need continues to grow. It's a constant cycle of intake, treatment, and recovery. And while the need is growing, so is the cost of care.
I know that one of the bags of food to make this food, just one small bag, is $55 a bag. And like one tub of formula for our mammals is like $265 for a 20-pound tub.
Donation staff say directly fund the food, medical supplies, and hands-on care that keeps these animals alive.
Seeing her handle animals that come through the door.
It's round the clock, all day long, to make sure these guys are being fed on time.
That are in trauma, that are injured. There's a lot of emotion that comes with that, right? The individual that in the community that cared enough to bring it in, and the way she has honored them in that door, in that moment, to thank them for coming and bringing this animal to us. And then there's this crisis situation that doesn't feel like a crisis.
Much of that work is supported by volunteers like Rachel, who says Sandra's leadership sets the tone for everything inside the center.
I would thank her for having an opportunity, for running a place that allows people to have a place to go.
They're great eaters, so if one doesn't want to eat, then we know something is seriously wrong. Be reestablished back into our ecosystems is incredibly important if we want to continue living with healthy ecosystems. All of their habitat loss is due to humans, and the more we push them out, the more animals come our way.
Now, Sandra says that if you do see a wild animal, don't rush in. You need to pause, observe, and then also call a wildlife center like theirs before you do anything. As always, thank you so much for watching, for always inviting us into your home. If you have something that you think that we should be looking into, you already know what to do. Reach out to me and the team. Or if you have a champion of hope, someone in your community, someone that you know, somebody that you work with that you think that would be great to highlight, please reach out to our team. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.